Hi everyone, it's Terry here from nutsaboutsstamping.com. In today's video, I'm going to show you a really pretty Mother's Day card idea. You can also take this idea and make it into an anniversary card or a wedding card, but with Mother's Day being our next special day coming up soon, I thought I would use the Timeless Tulips stamp set because it has the Happy Mother's Day phrase and create a Mother's Day card. What makes this card especially pretty, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that it's going to be layered with white on white with just a touch of color. I think that will add a bit of elegance. So my card base is going to be Whisper White. I've cut it 8.5 by 5.5, and as you can see, I scored it on the 4.25 mark. Now to that, I'm going to add a layer of Whisper White. But before I do, we're going to use the basket weave embossing folder to create a lovely texture on this layer. So let me get my Big Shot. I've got my Big Shot platform, and I am going to just use one cutting plate, and that will help me as I run this through the Big Shot, and it'll create this beautiful textured layer. Hang on, I'm trying to get it out of the folder. There we go. Isn't that just absolutely beautiful? But now I'm going to do something else to this embossing folder. So this time I'm going to bring in my magnetic platform, and I'm going to use both of my cutting plates, and I'm going to use one of my layering circles framelits, and I'm going to cut a window out of the layer for my card. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to set that aside for a minute because I'm going to use it another second. So there we go. I've got a window. You could use a stitched framelit, but I'm just going to use a plain one. I'm going to set that aside for a second, and then I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to bring in my phrase, the Happy Mother's Day phrase. I'm going to ink it up with Granny Apple Green. I think Granny Apple Green has got to be one of my favorite greens ever. Which is your favorite green for Stampin' Up! Colors? I would love if you would leave me a comment and let me know. And maybe that'll give me some inspiration for future cards. Now I'm going to bring back in my Big Shot, and I'm going to use my magnetic platform again. And this time I've got one of my stitched rectangular framelits, and I am going to die cut out the phrase that I'm then going to use on the front of my card. So I'm doing all my die cutting now, and then I can finish off my card. And there's my phrase. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is bring in a sheet of Whisper White cardstock, and I am going to punch out 2 daisies using my daisy punch. Just a minute, there we go. I got it caught a little bit. Hang on, let me get out of it here. There we go. Like I said, I'm going to cut 2 daisies. Put this aside. I am going to bring in some Granny Apple Green cardstock, and I've got my leaf punch, and I'm going to punch out 2 leaves, or 2 punched leaves. Can you see what's happening here? Then I'm going to bring in some Daffodil Delight, and I have my my 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm going to use these punched images to create a beautiful flower for the front of my card. So let's bring in the pieces. I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to pop up the basket weave layer that's going to be on the front of my card using some Stampin' Dimensionals. And then I will put my daisy together. Now for this card you can use, I think I've already said this, your favorite folder. I just love the basket weave. I think it's so pretty, and I sure hope it doesn't retire when the annual catalog retires at the end of May. There we go. Now I'm going to bring in my snail adhesive, and I'm going to put a bit of snail on the little Daffodil Delight center, and then I'm going to put some more snail on the back of this particular daisy. And then what I want to do is line up the two daisies together, hopefully you can see it, so that they're countersynced from each other. And then I'm going to use a Stampin' Dimensional for the center, and that will pop up my daisy in the center of the circle cutout. Now I'm going to put a little bit more snail, or put some snail on the back of these leaves, or little branches I guess they are. And I'll put one there, and I'll put one on the other side. I'm just using a touch of snail because I want the leaves to also be able to stand up like so. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my Mother's Day phrase at the bottom, and I can use the basket weave design to help me line it up so it's nice and straight. So there we go. It's a beautiful Mother's Day card. And I know that I would love to receive a card that's so pretty like this in the mail. If you do mail it to your mother or a special friend, if you change the phrase, you could make this a birthday card as well. Tell the person that receives it to just lift up some of the petals and the leaves on the branches just for an added effect. For a complete listing of the supplies that I used and the measurements for all of the layers on this card, please head on over to my blog, www.nutsaboutsstamping.com. While you're on my blog, you might want to subscribe to my newsletters. I send out 2 newsletters a week with a sample idea you won't see anywhere else. And if you want to place an order for the products I use to make this card, there's a Shop Now button on my blog. Click on that and it'll take you over to my online store. I'm Terry. I am Nuts About Stamping. I hope you'll create something beautiful today too. Bye for now.